The champion is ready. Everybody's ready, because just as winter gives way to spring, Daytona opens for a brand new racing season. And as of this moment, there are 44 drivers who think they can win the Daytona 500. We return to Daytona, where much is new. A lot of steel, a lot of concrete, an enhanced spectator experience. But we're at the ready for the track to open for the first of 2 practice sessions today on FS1 for the Sprint Unlimited. A beautiful day in Daytona, and already cars are clearing inspection, ready to get on track. 75 degrees, blustery, but clear. So welcome to Fox Sports coverage. I'm Mike Joy, along with Darrell Waltrip and our shiny new penny, Jeff Gordon, who joins us beginning 2016 and with 7 championships in the booth. I can't believe this is the first time in a quarter century that you've come to Florida in February without your fire suit.
It feels quite a bit different, but I am in a suit still. Just a little bit different suit. It feels amazing to be here. It's such an exciting time of the year for these race teams. You can see the look and the determination on the drivers as they walk into the garage area, and all the teams getting ready and all the preparation of time. And it's been a lot of fun going through that with you guys over the off season, and I'm excited to see some race cars on the track.
Yeah, me too, but it is awfully windy. Out there on the track I'm talking about.
I see where you're going. This is the way we're going to start this.
All right, as cars cycle out onto the speedway, let's go down to the garage area. First, Jamie Little.
Hey, Mike, just as Jeff was just talking about, the excitement is in the air for the 25 teams competing in the Sprint Unlimited tomorrow. They couldn't wait to get out on the racetrack, and there are different opinions. You see the guys out there, guys like Clint Boyer, Martin Truex Jr., they're in new engines, new chassis. They want to get on the track, see what these cars are made of. But a guy like Kurt Busch, everything except the sponsor is the same. So they want to be conservative. They want to take their time in the garage, then get out and do some single car runs. But the bottom line is, no matter who you are fired up. We are back at Daytona and ready to kick off the season, Matt Yoakum.
Now, Jamie, when you look at Joey Logano and the Team Penske group, no team is more excited to get back to the beach than these guys. Why? Last year they won the race, but we haven't had a repeat winner in the Daytona 500 in 21 years. In fact, Joey Logano was just 4 years old the last time that happened. Crew Chief Todd Gordon has a short list of things on his agenda he wants to accomplish for this session. Number 1, brand new race car. See if it reacts similar to how the car was that went to victory lane a year ago. He also wants spotter Tab Boyd and Joey to kind of shake off the rust, work on their chemistry, which they worked on again during the offseason for the 2nd year in a row. And you know, the motto at Team Penske always is, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And here in the 22 garage for the 2nd year in a row, the lucky penny from a year ago that was found and helicopter taped to their pad that goes underneath the back of the car, they pulled it back out for one more time. And guys, we've got 6 Daytona 500 winners on our telling us, and I think they all would agree. Luck and a lot of attention to detail is the winning ingredient.
Absolutely. On track right now, we've got about a 10-car train working here, and then a 3-car pack behind them.
Yeah, these guys are not bashful. I mean, they jump right out there, Jeff. They're right up in the middle of everything. Here we go, drafting each other inches apart at 200 miles an hour. I mean, and they didn't warm up or anything. They just took off.
No, absolutely. Right now, when you're preparing for the Sprint Unlimited, you want to see what your car is doing in the draft. You want to see what kind of speed your car has. You want to see what kind of maneuverability. And while a lot of things have not changed this year on the restrictor plate tracks with the spoilers and aerodynamically, there is a slight change in power, and I'd love to hear Larry Mack maybe tell us about those details.
Yeah, you know, right now you just want your car to see if it'll suck up or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, right next door to us with his own bank of monitors and data screens is 2-time Daytona 500 winning crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, Mike, Jeff, Darrell, what NASCAR did, this is the 4th year of this Gen 6 car. And essentially at Daytona and Talladega, we have had no rule changes with this car. But if you go back to last year, there was a chain with the engines. Everywhere except Daytona and Talladega, you could run a roller cam. This year they're running it at all the tracks. NASCAR knows that ups the power a little bit. So for that reason, they pulled the restrictor plate back to a 64th of an inch. Doesn't sound like much, but it's about 8 to 10 horsepower reduction.
Yeah, and the roller camshaft, it gives the engines more torque. You can just do so much more with the valve train when you have a roller, not to flat tap it like we ran for years. So it does create a little bit more power, which makes perfectly good sense for them to cut the plate back a little bit. I think the speeds are still going to be very comparable to what we saw last year.
Yeah, we already saw 199 miles per hour into turn 3, so they're getting after it right now. One of the things that makes me so nervous about this very first practice, all winter long, you've been thinking about it, talking about it, preparing, and no doubt, as you mentioned, you're a little rusty, and you're out there, they're 2 by 2, but 5 rows deep right now, and you just know that somebody might be a little too anxious, knowing how soon and early it is in practice.
Yeah, I think one thing, Jeff, that gives these guys confidence, I know it would be me, these cars have not changed. I mean, the aero package on this car is the same package we've run for the last couple of years, so they know the cars. They know the setup. They're just really trying to see if any of those engine changes or anything they've done to the car in the offseason will make it a little bit better.
At the back of that pack, which is now 14 cars strong, Brian Vickers substituting for Tony Stewart, who was injured in an off-season, off-road vehicle crash. He crushed a vertebra in his back. He's had surgery. He's on the mend. They had Periscope footage of him in the press conference today on the treadmill walking, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Brian Vickers is the designated substitute. First time back in a Cup car in a while. He received medical clearance from NASCAR earlier this week, and he's happy to go.
Well, you talk about getting the rust off. I mean, there's a guy that really has got to get out there and get his comfort zone, because he hadn't been in a car in quite some time, and then to throw into this mess right here, he's probably going to be real cautious right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great opportunity for Brian to show what he's capable of doing. And one of the things I think a lot of people question was, was Brian Vickers even pursuing getting back into the sport? And so this, I think, shows, yes, he really wants to be back into the Cup Series, and this is an opportunity to showcase what he's capable of doing in one of these cars.
Here's what I want to see is the closing rate.
Oh, yeah.
Now, 2 cars out front by themselves, Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the pack just inhaled them, and Keselowski went right on by.
Yeah, when you're just trying to get up to speed, Mike, you're probably run 180 mile an hour. Here, these guys come at right at 200. They're going to overtake you in a hurry. Then you fall in. You got to find a place there where you can fall in line, and then you can work your way back up toward the front if you got a good car.
So what I've seen in the past is it takes a few laps, tires get heat in them, the drivers start getting more and more comfortable, and once they feel good about what they're feeling, how the car's driving, the speed that they have, they're going to start moving around to the back of the pack or try to work their way to the front of the pack. I mean, all this is preparation. How do I just get comfortable with my spotter, get comfortable with my mirrors, get comfortable with the way the aerodynamics are working with the cars, and can I push somebody by? Can somebody push me by? You're just trying all these different scenarios to get yourself ready for when you're actually in that race.
Yeah, I always thought Dale Sr. and certainly Dale Jr., I watched him do it. You'll watch him fall to the back of the pack, and you say, oh, there's something wrong with this car. You just all of a sudden feel, and then he will see how many laps does it take me to work my way back to the lead. In case something like that happens in the race itself, he's got an idea how much time he's got to get back to the front if he wants a shot at winning.
And one of the things that we've seen in the last few years is the leader has a pretty significant advantage. Unless it's a restart, that leader is really in a good position, and those cars really have to group up and start to try to find a way by that leader. So sometimes you'll see somebody wants to get out front, see what it's like as they're leading, and then see if somebody can get that big run and get by them. If they do, then they go back to the back and try it again.
Here's how it was explained to me about one of the drivers. These cars are running in a bubble of air. There's a big bubble of air that they're all running in. If you can get in front of that bubble of air, that air will push you forward. Think about Joey Logano last year, how he won the 500. He sat there in front of the field, and they couldn't get to him. That bubble of air was pushing him forward, and they couldn't break through that bubble of air to get to him. So there's a big bubble of air that they all run in.
Yeah, right now, these guys are completing 9 laps. The race tomorrow night is 75 laps, but we know there will be a caution at lap 25. A fuel window is about 42 to 46 laps. I look for these drivers maybe to run 20 to 25 laps in a row to see what their car is going to do.
Well, 18 of the 20, make that 19 of the 25 cars that will be in the Sprint Unlimited have been on track logging laps so far. Casey Kane quickest.
That was really interesting. We saw a lot of sparks flying off. I believe it's the one car there. And during the day, no, it wasn't the one. It was somebody further back in the pack there. But during the day, a lot of times you don't see those things. And then as soon as the lights come on and the races at night, all of a sudden sparks are flying. Usually also the thickness of the air at night sometimes will push the cars in the track a little bit more, as well as seems like speeds just go up when the race starts.
Yeah, when those cars are hitting the track like that, it's like hitting the brakes. You got to fix that.
Chase Elliott's ride. Yep, that's the 24 rolling through the garage. We're in Daytona Beach, and it's green flag. Nearly 15 minutes of practice completed for the Sprint Unlimited. This is the first of 2 sessions you'll see live on Fox Sports 1 today. Kyle Larson now quickest over Casey Kane and Denny Hamlin. 25 drivers will be in this race that'll encompass 75 total laps, 25 a break, and then 50 laps, mostly made up of pole winners and then top point finishers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Daytona. Yeah, last year I talked about when the other network came in, NBC, and I said, well, everybody loves the shiny new penny. So here you are.
Thank you very much.
Your shiny new penny.
Was that heads up? Because I'm not superstitious or anything.
16 years ago, when Darrell came up to call the Daytona 500 for the first time, the view from here just took him right apart because it was so different from the view out the windshield. You've seen 15 minutes of practice. Your impressions?
It's incredible. I thought that this would be a little bit calmer. It's not. I'm sweating up here, just watching. It really, because I know what it's like to be in the car and what's happening when you see those cars moving around, what you see on TV versus what you feel inside the car, so much more dramatic and drastic. So I'm still it's like I'm still riding in there with them.
Good.
It's really exciting. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, well, when you're in the car, Mike, it's like you have tunnel vision.
Right.
I mean, you got a helmet on, and yeah, you got your spotter, and you got your mirrors, you got all those things that the driver uses, but you can't see all the crap that we see. You can't see all the behind you or what's going on around you.
I'm seeing way more things than I ever wanted to see.
That's what blew my mind is those guys are crazy. They're gonna wreck each other, and they make it.
If you knew then what you know now.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
The blind obvious.
Down to the garage, Jamie.
And one guy patiently waiting to get in his race car for the first time, Kurt Busch, and a new sponsor this year for you. Kurt, first practice of the whole year. A lot of guys couldn't wait to get out there on track, but you guys are taking your time. What is your approach since this is for the Sprint Unlimited?
I'm just following Tony Gibson's lead. The guy's so smart. He's been here for so many years. He knows what needs to be done every practice session, no matter if it's the Unlimited or the 500 car. But just real proud of the effort from everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing. This is really neat to see the Haas Automation Chevy with Monster and the whole collaboration of 2 co-primary sponsors. So real proud of the way everything's come together, and it's neat to see Daytona the way that it looks right now. Everything just looks better, smells better. It's exciting. A lot of fresh things in the air right now.
Hey, Tony Gibson's smart, but so are you. He's won this race before, guys, 2011.
Thanks, Jamie. 3 drivers have yet to take to the track in this session. Martin Truex, Jimmy Johnson are the others.
And I thought he brought up a really interesting and good point to talk about, which is the crew chiefs are really the ones that sort of drive your practice schedule on an event like this. They really think about it. They work so hard preparing these cars. They want to win these races so bad that they're thinking, okay, what's our best chance? And mixing the personality of a driver and a crew chief is so important. And you can already sense from Kurt Busch that line of communication and those 2 personalities have meshed up very well.
Mike, I don't know how many people are on every race team. 50, 60 people work on these cars. This practice, when these cars hit the racetrack, every guy in this shop, every guy that touched this race car before it came down here, he's anticipating what this car is going to do. They've been to the wind tunnel. It's the best car we've ever had aero-wise. They've been on the dyno with the engine. We're making more power than we've ever made before. Put it all together and want to get out on a track and see if we're better, or if we're better than everybody else or not.
Well, you know, Daytona is open and the season has started because the king is in town. NASCAR's all-time winner, Richard Petty.
It's insane what we do.
The fastest sport in the world.
It's like being strapped to a rocket. You're getting over 320 miles an hour in just 4 seconds.
Is now on FS1.
When I hit the throttle, the ground shakes underneath you. The extremest sport on the planet.
Fearless drivers. One unbelievable ride. Don't miss the NHRA Pomona Finals, Sunday at 5 Eastern on FS1.
What's the most awarded car company of the year, ranking from top to bottom?
Luxury cars seem like they would be top awarded.
Better be some awards behind what you're paying for, right?
The final answer? Chevy, the most awarded car company 2 years in a row.
Wow, it's like a luxury car.
I was shocked. I mean, it's like, this is Chevy?
Current qualified GM lessees can get a sign and drive lease on this Chevy Cruze Limited for around $179 per month. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Meet Tim Mahoney. Tim thinks you need to be some sort of mastermind to do your own taxes. So we flew in mastermind George Smoot to help him.
Okay, what does it say there?
It says, did you buy a home?
Did you buy a home?
Yes.
Then I press there. Okay.
Thanks.
Intuit TurboTax. Taxes done smarter.
Welcome back to the first practice for the Sprint Unlimited, first of 2 on FS1 today. Now, you can't win the Daytona 500, but you could win just as much. How does $1.5 million sound? All you have to do, pick the top 10 finishers of the race in order. Visit foxsports.com/Daytona Pick 10 before race day, February 21st, to enter.
We have a hard time picking the winner. Let alone the top 10.
We are not eligible. All right, we're not eligible.
Hey, look, Mr. Lonely.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, I mean, this is what we see out of them every time we go to a restrictor plate track. And I can tell you, as a teammate of his, it used to drive us crazy. Why are you doing that? What's going on? And you know, this everything is a learning opportunity out there every time you're on the racetrack. And Chad Knaus just has gone about it in a way that's worked well for him, and they've gotten into a rhythm where they go out there, work by themselves, single car runs, and even if they're trying to get 100th, a 10th of a second out of that car, because he thinks that might give that car the extra boost that they need on that final lap to make that pass for the win if they're in that position, or to keep the lead.
It was kind of what I was saying, Jeff. Everybody's worked on the car. They worked on the car, the motor, all those parts and pieces. Now we want to see they got a baseline, what they did here last year running by themselves, and see if they made it better or not.
Well, let's hear what they're up to. We listened in.
So it's going to go 4 or 5 laps. Not a big deal like that. We're just kind of warming it up. 10-4.
So that, with basically 4 laps, you get a lap to get the heat into the oils, the driveline, transmission, rear end gear, and then you really, the next 2 to 3 laps just give you a baseline of really where the speed is at. And so one of the things that we could do is just look at the lap time and see where it sort of levels off. That's what you're looking for, that lap time to level off. And that lap time levels off, then there's your baseline. And now you'll come back out, and they probably will only run 3 laps the next time they come out because everything's already up to temperature.
Look at all the mirrors laid out. Jimmy's got more mirror than forward view almost.
It is so important. these mirrors are so important here at Daytona and Talladega. These are mirrors you won't see at any other track. Yeah, sure, certainly you might see the regular rear view mirror in the middle, but it's the lower one down here on the right-hand side. This is a mirror that I know I always ran and really depend on. And this mirror is not looking out the back. This mirror is actually looking out the right side window and then the rear right side window, because if a car is in your blind spot, even though you have spotters and you rely on those spotters, it's always nice to see if a car is there, where they're at. They're trying to hide your blind spot, and you're trying to see everything that's going on around you at all times if possible.
Now something else is brand new, and it lives right there on the dashboard.
I really like the way that looks. Kind of nice. Here's a nice view in Logano's car, and look at his leg. You see how he's jostling around? Right, that's nervous energy. I mean, that's a guy that wants to get back out on the racetrack. He wants to see what his car will do.
And Joey does a lot of that. When you watch his in-cars, he does that. So that tells you a lot about the personality and what kind of person that is. Some are calm and cool and falling asleep like Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Some are their knees bouncing like Joey Logano.
You know, guys, they can do different things with these dashes. There's like 16 variations. You can have it look like a gauge. You can have digital. You can have a bar, or you can mix and match. And things that can be added to this digital dash that we've not had before, we still have a tach, water temp, oil pressure, fuel pressure, but you can add air pressure. You can add lap times. You can add rear end and gear temp and transmission temp. So there's things that they can add to this digital dash depending on what a driver's looking for.
And there's a look at it. Boy, we've come a long way, Darrell, when we used to get a Sun Tac and a couple of Stewart Warner gauges.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Actually, the tack back in the day was electric. It was an electric tack, and it bounced all over the place. I don't think it would work too good for pit road speed like we've got today, but every team had a different idea. These are pretty basic gauge package, fuel pressure, oil temp, oil pressure, all those. Then we went to the tacks that were where we could reset the tack and see what the RPM max and low were. Then you get to this thing that's just a piece of work.
Can I just tell you, I'm jealous. I'm a little jealous. I knew when this was coming along last year that I wasn't going to get an opportunity to try it out and race with it. I love cool gadgets, and to have that in the car I think is very, very cool and shows you where the sport is heading and things technologically where they're going in the future.
Now this is amazing. It took 24 minutes, 24 minutes into your broadcast career before Jeff Gordon was jealous of what's going on down there. Don't blink and you'll miss it. The fastest sport in the world is now on FS1. Be there when the green light flashes on the 2016 season for the NHRA. It's the Pomona Finals beginning Sunday 5 Eastern, only on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We welcome the NHRA to Fox Sports.
Been hearing good things about what they're doing too.
They'll be going a little faster than this, but
hustle, kid, hustle.
Yeah, I love it. There's already some hustle in that 48 team, and I believe he's looking for the car to do maybe some pressure, check the pressure on the tires or a tire temp gauge.
He might be headed down there looking for a long wait.
Oh, Darrell.
I recognize that face. He's been around long enough to know not to do that.
What are we doing here?
One thing I noticed in that's Shaky. Shaky used to do, that's his nickname obviously, but he used to be at Hendrick Motorsports years ago. He did all my seats and helmet prep and all those things, and looks like, and he was at Childress there for a while, and now with the 48 team. He's the detail in which they move things around and how they take care of drivers and driver comfort. We say comfort, it's really just getting the driver as comfortable as he can possibly be in that car, so he's not thinking about any of that.
Yeah, he's putting a mark on the steering column so he can put the wheel on the same place every time. Once the driver gets it set and he knows where he wants it, they'll mark it, then he just knows to line it up every time.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, for something else that's new, here's Jamie.
Well, Brian Vickers got the call about a week ago to fill in for the injured Tony Stewart, and it didn't take you long to get up to speed. Brian, it's been almost a year since you've been in the car. What a place to get in. What was it like?
What an amazing place to get in. I love Daytona. It felt awesome. I mean, I don't even know that I can articulate how good it felt. I wasn't sure if I'd ever race again, and a lot's gone on in my life over the last 5 years, and I'm at peace with that, you know. And if I never raced again, that's fine, you know, if that's my path. But But when I got the call to get back into a winning car, that's something I couldn't turn down, and I couldn't be more happier to be here. I can't thank everyone on this team, Stuart Haas Racing, Tony and Gene, and all the guys at the shop. They've worked so hard. They've been great to work with, and obviously our partners, Bass Pro Shops, Mobile One, Chevy. I mean, they all had to approve me being here, and I can't thank them enough for that. It's an honor. It's a big seat to fill. I have a lot of respect for Tony. I'm wishing him well. Saw him the other day. He's doing good. He's going to be back before you know it, and it's going to be a pleasure to turn the seat back over to him because this is his car, not mine.
Well, the good news for you and your fans, he will be back in the seat for all of Speed Week, so we'll see him in the Daytona 500 as well. Glad to see you back.
Look forward to it.
All right, Brian competed in only 2 races last year due to blood clots found on his lungs. He had to take blood thinners, which prevented him from racing because any kind of a puncture injury could have serious consequences. So now he has been approved to run here. Now Jamie McMurray out on track. Here's Matt.
Mike, he's back out on the racetrack for 3 timed laps. Then he'll bring the 1 car back to the garage. Now, when we were going to break earlier, you saw a crew member inside the cockpit of the 1 car with a huge piece of tape trying to seal off the trap door that's on top of the dash. Jamie said he had an issue with the dash, but not the digital portion. It's just it was buffeting too much. He likes that new digital dash. He's never used it. He also went down a list of cars that he was competing around and just saying, okay, the 88 like Dale Earnhardt Jr., very similar to last year. The 22 Logano, he was good as well. He broke down the competition for his team so that way they can compare the 1 to the others.
Yeah, that dash, you got a trap door up there. They take that off so they can get down in there, the pedals and everything. It must have been flopping around a little bit.
Kyle Larson top of the chart. Casey Kane and Denny Hamlin fastest. Welcome back to Daytona and the first of 2 practice sessions for the Sprint Unlimited that you'll see today on FS1. Chevys and Toyotas dominate the top 10. 25 cars will be in this race. The fastest Ford is Ricky Stenhouse. He is 12th overall and 17th on the chart. Larry, is Joey Logano.
Yeah, every time we do a race practice at Daytona, this is what we see. We see a big pack to start the practice, and then they start pulling in the garage area, and we never see it again until the next practice. Todd Gordon, Joey Logano's crew chief, told me we're going to make as long a run as we can in the beginning with a big group of cars. Once that dissipates, we're going to do single car runs 5 laps at a time, just trying to try different things to see if we can find speed.
Yeah, absolutely. Larry brings up a really good point, and it is true. It seems like at the start of these practices where you know you're going to be drafting, there's larger groups of cars, and then they sort of all peel off when they feel comfortable with what they needed. Got Joey having some issues. I don't know, was that a clutch or a starter issue?
Too many buttons.
Well, here's the source of some of that confusion. It's
hey, wait a minute. There's something wrong with this.
Well, we will not race the cars tomorrow night that we will race in the Daytona 500. Completely separate race cars.
Yeah, and I think they actually turned them into the wrong garage stall.
Ah, that could be part of it too. Jamie.
Well, one guy who's not confused because he hasn't been out yet is Martin Truex Jr. So you guys have Toyota as your engine supplier this year. So I know you guys are eager to get out. But what is your plan for the rest of this practice and next practice?
Yeah, we're just kind of, taking it easy here and taking our time, making sure we get everything right. But we don't plan on running the pack. So we got plenty of time to get out there and make a few laps. And just going to do some single car stuff and, make sure everything's feeling right for tomorrow night. And we'll go race then and see what we can learn and hopefully go get us a trophy.
So you said you don't want to run in the pack. Are you just going to wait for the race tomorrow night and see how she shakes out?
Yeah, I think I want to run in the pack. Okay, so all the drivers want to run in the pack. The crew chiefs are like, no. So, if we get through practice and this race, tomorrow night, we'll be able to run as much practice as we want because we'll have enough race cars. So, trying to keep Cole happy. His first race of the year,
There's a plan for everything, right? The drivers want one thing, the crew chiefs want another.
Well, he finished second here last year, and Cole is Cole Perrin, his crew chief. Now, here is Carl Edwards. And let's get some insight into their plan for this practice.
We are pretty much done pack racing. If a pack forms up, just let Carl know. If he changes his mind, he wants to get into it, that he can, but nothing to work on here. Okay, 10-4.
We're done pack racing. But, of course, if a pack did show up, we would get it. But
now what he is doing is getting to pit road real hot right here. And I think this is so important, is getting to pit road, not just for the Sprint Unlimited, but for next weekend's Daytona 500 as well as the duels. Getting on pit road, we've seen can make or break your entire race.
Yeah, you don't want to lock up the tires. You never know what the crew chief's got planned. Maybe gas and go. If you slide those tires, you're not going to do a gas and go. You're going to have to change tires. So a lot of times a different strategy.
And you just heard him come on the radio and say he's got to do it again. So obviously he either got too much of it or not enough. I didn't see any tires smoking, but it sounds to me like he wants to try it one more time, improve that, as well as they're testing out this digital dash for pit road speed, trying to get it accurate. A lot of teams, we've heard them talk about the accuracy of that down pit road is a little bit different here as we see Matt Kenseth make a nice move to the outside of his teammate.
Yeah, we now have a 7-car draft that's formed up.
But yeah, Jeff, a lot of teams ran the digital dash last year, and that was one of the complaints. It was almost too sensitive. But I think they've reached a comfort level now because they've almost detuned them a little bit on the RPM to where they're not so sensitive and jumping around.
I can tell you that a lot of teams, if it were up to them, they would want to have just for the tachometer, the old tachometer just for accuracy down pit road.
Agreed.
But the digital dash has so many other components and advantages and information that the teams want, and it's the same for everybody. So everybody's going to have to adjust.
Yeah. Right now, it's kind of two different strategies here. You know, we see some cars running by themselves. Normally when you do that, the engineer's saying, I want to try something, so you got to kind of what the engineers would say, ABA. You got to have the A set up, then you run the B sub, then you go back to the A to be sure it was better or worse. In this case, you're just seeing how your car drives in traffic and if it'll draft or not.
And let's not forget, there is no more preseason practice. This is the first time that any Sprint Cup car has been on a super speedway in 2016.
I tell you, that move that you just saw the 27 car make, that's a classic Daytona move. A lot of energy gets stored up in these cars from the air, the pocket, and the bubble that you're talking about, DW, and it's all generated. We're talking about turn 3, turn 4, where that's all generated. One little shuffle up, one car gets in line, all of a sudden that whole line starts to move. If you can build enough of a gap from yourself to that lead car, get a little momentum and use that bubble behind you and slingshot around to the outside in their blind spot as you come through the tri-oval, like we saw Paul Menard do, you got a great opportunity to make a pass.
Think about this, Jeff. You know, they're coming down here to the tri-oval right now. Right about there, the track, you're on a flat, and then you go into a little bit of banking. 18 degrees through here, you're still running 200 miles an hour, the same as you're running in a corner with 33 degrees of banking. So I've always thought that one of the most treacherous, hardest places to get through without getting in trouble is the tri-oval. And we see it time and time again. There's just not enough banking here for the speed you're running, and if you make an erratic move, man, you cause a problem.
16 minutes to go in this session. Everyone has been on track except Martin Truex Jr., last year's runner-up. Hard to believe it's been 82 days since these drivers were in a Sprint Cup car. Big East action comes to Fox tomorrow with a doubleheader. Georgetown takes on 20th ranked Providence, followed by 5th ranked Xavier squaring off against Butler. It's all on your local Fox affiliate. Sponsored by Jeep Renegade. Take off and take on anything.
Tell you what, I know the 500's coming next Sunday, and I can't wait. But March Madness is just around the corner, too.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is back in the garage area. We're trying to noodle out why. He had a little trash on his grill, but look at this down in turn number 1 where the car just climbs the hill.
Well, yep. Now, the reason that's important is because this side of the grill over here is open. That's where they get the air. This side over here, you can see how they tape that side up. So picking up that trash on that side of the grill, the engine's going to shoot, the temp's going to shoot up pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't know if it's kind of odd that he slowed down as fast as he did. I don't know if the spotter recognized that a piece of debris got on there. It didn't look like it was in the area that there was an opening, but they may just be feeling some things out and didn't like what they were feeling.
Let's find out from Jamie.
Well, Junior says the car has really good speed, and I just asked the team, and they said no issues there. They got the trash on the grill. It got a little warm, but they just brought it in to use this as time to make a right front change and fill it up with fuel so he can get back out before the end of practice.
And I was going to say, Jeff, I know with a driver, you don't look at your gauges all the time. And I've looked down at my gauge and saw one of my temps going crazy. And while I was looking down, I was at the turn and I shot up the racetrack because I was looking at my gauges. I thought maybe something like that could have happened.
Well, and I think that's what made us look at this, because it was odd. He was all by himself and just shot up the racetrack towards the top. And obviously they've got no issues. But you're right on the gauges. I stopped looking at the gauges at the last. Of course, my eyes were getting bad and I couldn't see the gauges also.
Well, now let's project ahead a bit. Isn't it the plan for the digital dash, Larry, that eventually that information in the car on the dash could be transmitted to the pit box, to the broadcasters, and maybe even over the internet to the fans at home?
I think the long-range term's absolutely the plan. Short term is what we have here this weekend. Long term, going out to a lot of different outlets, no question. Remember, the opening on these cars, it's mandated here at 1 3/4 inches tall by 23 wide. Now, you can tape it up, and in this kind of cool weather, they will tape it up more for aerodynamic advantage. You just can't have it bigger than that opening.
Can you imagine Twitter lighting up saying, why isn't he looking at his gauges? Look how hot his engine's running.
He doesn't look at his gauges because we're all looking at it. Matt Yoakum.
And Matt Kenseth pulled the 20-car Mike back into the garage area. Now they're going through a number of different things on their to-do list for this practice session, working toward the final practice for today. But not only does it give them a chance for that, but it also gives Matt and his spotter, Lauren Renier, veteran spotter, chance to work together again. They worked together a little bit back in the old Roush Fenway days. Now, during the off-season, Matt's typical spotter, Chris Osborne, who spent many years at Hendrick Motorsports, and Jeff knows him very well, he, his wife, Melissa, and son, Austin, were in a passenger car accident. In fact, Melissa spent about a month in the hospital. All three are home mending now, but it gives them a chance just to work on that chemistry. The communication is so important, especially between spotter and driver here at Daytona.
Thanks, Matt. We certainly want to send our best wishes to the Osborne family. Martin Truex will be the final car to hit the track and log some laps in this practice session. Seven and a half minutes to go in this session. Kyle Larson's fastest lap, 199.3, compares to the fastest lap in last year's first practice, which was Kurt Busch at 200.7. Martin Truex, yes, that car looks the same until you get a closer look. It is no longer the Furniture Row Chevrolet. In the offseason, they switched allegiance to Toyota. And is that a shiny black paint job?
It is.
It is. It's gloss black, because if you remember, they always run the flat black. But Todd Berrier, who was the crew chief there before Cole Pern, went to owner Barney Visser and said, look, I'm okay with this flat black, but at Daytona and Talladega, we need a nice, slick, glossy race car. Barney said, okay, for those 4 races only, you can go gloss black.
Well, that's back to the details. One of the things that you spend days on, these guys do work on these cars, is rubbing their hand. I mean, they rub these things all over trying to find rough spots, places they can slick up to make the car just a little bit less wind resistant.
I wouldn't mind talking to Larry about a shiny car. Does that hide a few things as well as when you're trying to get to through the NASCAR inspection line?
Larry wouldn't know anything about that.
Jamie?
Well, a couple of new things for Denny Hamlin this year, working with a new crew chief who moves up from the Xfinity Series. And your knee, your ACL replacement, how's it holding up after this first practice?
It's good in the car. It's just I'm trying to figure out, I haven't been in a car since Homestead, so I'm trying to figure out the things am I feeling. Is it because I haven't been in a car? I've never gone an off season and not been in a car in some sort of way before coming to Daytona. So whether it's just those feelings or there's actually something different in the setup of our car.
So enough about the knee. How's the car? That's the important part. You won this race twice before. You know what you're looking for. So how is it?
Good. We actually won this race 3 times, but they said I went below the yellow line coming to the start-finish line. So You know, the car's pretty good, but you can't really tell anything right now because, you know, just watching in the first pack that was formed, I think everyone realizes you got to be a little bit more tame. Even though we come down here and we crash more often than not in the first practice, nobody's really being aggressive to the level that they will tomorrow night. So you got to just kind of take everything you got with a grain of salt. But overall, speed-wise and suck-up, I feel like our Express Camry's pretty good. So we'll see how it all turns out.
Thanks, Denny. Guys.
Thanks, Jamie. Joe Gibbs Racing's had quite a bit of success here in the Sprint Unlimited of late. They've won 3 of the last 4 years. Now look at Matt Kenseth's outside rearview mirror on the left side with a piece of orange tape. Doing what, Matt?
Well, Mike, through the years, we've documented a different style and driver preference as far as that A-post mirror. Now, for Matt Kenseth, and Jeff and Darrell can comment on this further, but things happen so quickly. Now, for Matt, that little orange stripe below that, he can see cars. That means he's not clear. If he can see something in that A-post mirror that's above that orange line, he knows there's enough distance between himself and that other car that he can clear himself if he has to.
Now, somebody's done some serious research.
That's kind of the no zone for your blind spot there. That's interesting.
I never have heard that before.
I've never heard that either. That's fascinating.
Amazing. It is.
Jamie?
So Denny Hamlin was watching the monitor and he's pointed at himself and said, "That's my idea. Matt stole it from me. He's been doing it."
You just remind him, success has many fathers. Failure is an orphan.
Well, they're on the same team, for heaven's sake.
Kyle Larson still fastest in the first hour of Sprint Unlimited practice. When this first practice session ends for the Sprint Unlimited, we'll turn it over to NASCAR Race Up for about 30 minutes and then come back with round 2 of practice from Daytona International Speedway. About half a dozen cars on track right now, all spaced out pretty evenly. Maybe it's the Chad Knaus plan with everyone making those single car runs.
Yeah, well, also, let's not forget, this is daytime still. I mean, you're starting to see the sun fall, but this race is going to be run at night. So you're going to see, I think, in the next practice, a lot more action when it comes to actually drafting in bigger packs.
Watching the 2 car down here trying to get to pit road. He's going really, really slow. He's been going slow most of the way around, all the way down the back and around 3 and 4. I think he's going to make it.
Very interesting, yeah.
Still looking okay.
Dead stick.
Ford's having new nose on their cars this year. Remember last year, a lot of times the Fords seemed that they had that grill that they seemed to lose.
Initially with the Gen 6 car, the grill was the production grill. It was a separate piece. Then they changed the nose and fixed that so the grills didn't fall out. And now the new Ford Fusion in the showrooms has a brand new nose, so does the race car.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you my opinion, and maybe I'm off base, but we saw this 2 car do this in qualifying at Talladega last year. He was coming to pit road and trying to slow and get the car wound up and was going back and forth. I don't know exactly why, but I do find it interesting.
You're going to get it running? Okay, here we go.
I tell you, one thing about Brad and his crew chief, you never know.
Guys
but
are always
we
thinking.
Will find out.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Practice 1 for the Sprint Unlimited is over. Kyle Larson wins practice over Casey Kane. 2 Chevys, Hamlin's Toyota, Menard's Chevrolet. And all 25 drivers got at least some laps. Martin Truex going out very late in the session. Now, Brad Keselowski coasted in almost all the way to pit road. Had a difficult transition from the banking to the flat, giving off a lot of sparks. Jamie, what's up?
Well, I asked him about it a second ago, and he wasn't exactly sure. Now he said, "Oh, that time, what happened?"
You know, the 88 car had given me plenty of room so I could make clean runs. And you want to get a really clean run, Jamie, so you know exactly the speed your car had. And he was behind me, so I wanted to pay him the same courtesy and get off the track and not mess his run up, which is good for everybody. But the SKF Ford is really fast. We're able to get to the front of the pack and lead for quite a while, and I'm really excited for tomorrow night.
And you got a lucky draw. You're starting on the front row tomorrow night. And by the way, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. My crew chief drew number 2, so it's now his job to draw all the time, because usually we're terrible at those draws, so congrats to him.
And his teammates last, Mike.
Oh, boy. Yeah, the crew chiefs drew the starting spots. Here are 3 things you need to know from this opening round of practice. Joe Gibbs racing. 3 cars in the top half dozen. Casey
He still
Kane.
didn't explain why he was rolling so slow to pit road.
In the next show. We have a whole nother practice for that.
I have so much I want to know.
Casey Kane, second fastest, and 14 minutes into practice. Actually was 24 minutes into practice. Jeff Gordon was envious of new tech. If Tony Stewart had been up here, it would have been 14 minutes. But we'll be back in a little more than half an hour with the second round of Sprint Unlimited practice as we send you to John Roberts.